last week in the newspaper, in the Metro. I don't know how many of you read the Metro. A 14-year-old girl, a 14-year-old child commits suicide in a local park. A young child. She hung herself in the park. And before she killed herself, she wrote on her arm that I have no purpose. She wrote, I have no purpose. This is a 14-year-old child. And this isn't an isolated incident. This is not an isolated incident. This happens with thousands of children around the entire UK and around the world. Not only children, but adults in their numbers are depressed. And I want you to ask yourselves a question today. Why? When we have everything, especially in the 21st century, we have all the money, the cars, the houses, all the luxuries, all the comforts of the 21st century. Why are we depressed? Why are we in a state of sadness? This is a profound question. This is an important question. And I'm going to argue that the number one reason people are depressed and they're committing suicide is because we're not fulfilling our purpose. We're not fulfilling the purpose for what we were created. In the Quran, God says something very clearly. He answers the questions that philosophers have asked for thousands of years. Why am I here? What is my purpose? He says that He created mankind to worship Him. But we'll address this, we'll get to this. Before I talk about this, I want to expose the reality of life in the absence of God. I want to expose what it means to deny God. Because the reality of the society we live in today, they want to push God out of the picture. You want to squeeze God out of the picture. It's a desire-fulfilling society. Run after your desires. Run after materialism. Run after consumerism. Buy the next big house. Buy the new car. Buy the new computer. Buy. That they teach you that this is what's going to satisfy you. It's not going to cut it. As they say, it's not going to cut the mustard. This is not going to do it. Let's look at the absurdity of life in the absence of God. What does it mean to deny God? You have no ultimate meaning. You deny God, you render yourself empty of any ultimate meaning. Because in the absence of God, what are you? You are nothing more than an accident. You are an accidental byproduct of a lengthy evolutionary process. You are just a rearrangement of molecules. So whether you live as a saint or a sinner, it doesn't matter. Your end is the same. 6 foot under, being eaten by worms, maggots, and whatever else they may be. This is the reality in the absence of God. Do you have any ultimate purpose in the absence of God? Think about this. You can't claim any ultimate purpose. Accidents don't have a purpose. Accidents don't have a purpose. You can ascribe purpose to yourself. You can tell yourself, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an astronaut. You know, I want to do charity work. I want to do humanitarian work for a humanitarian cause. But this is nothing short of deluding yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're making things up. You're plucking things out of thin air as you go along, just to entertain you, to get you through life. There is no ultimate purpose. Is there true happiness in the absence of God? Think about this scenario. Let me share with you a small scenario. Imagine after this talk, you go home, you fall asleep, and you wake up and the next thing you remember, you're in a train, and the train is moving. But you don't really think about that. What you realize is you're sitting in the most comfortable chair you've ever sat in. The service is amazing, luxurious service, first class meal. Would you truly be happy? You could probably be happy to an extent, that you have all these amazing things around you, but can you truly be happy not knowing how you got on the train, where the train's going, and where you're going to get off? We're thinking human beings, people. We ask these questions. We've asked these questions for thousands of years. We can never truly be happy in the absence of the answers. That applies to life. We don't know where we've come from, where we're going, or what's our purpose. The reality is not as morbid. The reality is that God, He created us. And He created us with a purpose. And the purpose He outlines very clearly in the Quran. He said that He created us to worship Him. It's very simple. And worship in Islam, I'll answer you, sir. Worship in Islam doesn't hold a negative connotation as it does in the English language. When we think of the word worship, we think, oh my God, slavery. I'm not a slave, I want to be free. But in Islam, worship doesn't hold the same negative connotation. In Islam, worship is something profound. It's something beautiful. It's something that truly frees you. It liberates you, because in Islam, when you submit yourself to the Creator, you're no longer a slave to the creation. You're no longer a slave to social norms. You don't enslave yourself to money. You don't enslave yourself to consumerism. You don't enslave yourself to your desires, but you enslave yourself to the Creator. This is a profound worship is in Islam, and it truly frees you. It truly liberates you. And I leave you with a quote, a verse from the Quran. God says something profound. He says, truly, in the remembrance of God do hearts find rest. You want rest? You want peace? You want true tranquility? You're only going to find in the remembrance of God. And don't take my word for it. All of you guys here, you probably have a goal. You probably have an aim, an ambition you want to fulfill. You probably want to make money. You probably want to have a new house, or you're working towards starting a family. You can go away and do all of these things. Go away and do all of these things. But a couple of days later, remember back to what I said, you'll be sitting there thinking, okay, now what's next? It's just another car. It's just another house. It's just a little bit more money. What can I do next? These things won't satisfy us. These things won't fulfill us. These things are not what we were created for. Try to run a car that's designed on petrol and water. Try to run a car that's designed to run on petrol and water. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's going to break down. The car will break down in the same way. We aren't designed to run off consumerism. We weren't designed to feed off our desires. We were designed to worship the divine reality of God. This is the reality, people. So stop and don't see me as some Muslim preacher. In conclusion, what I want to say is don't see me as some crazy Muslim preachers come here to talk to you today. See me as a human being trying to connect with you. That's what I want you to do, and see this reality and think about this reality. Stop rendering yourself down to nothing more than a rearrangement of molecules. Stop degrading yourselves like this. Stop degrading yourselves like this. You know you're more than this. You know you're more than just a rearrangement of molecules, just a few chemical reactions, just a few neurons firing. And I leave you with a question, a choice, more like if you like. The choice is yours. Either you wake up to this reality and you stop degrading yourself and you remind yourself, you tell yourself that there is a purpose and you search for that purpose, or you continue to live your life in a delusion. You continue to delude yourself and distract yourself and make your purpose up. That's your choice. I thank you all for listening.